Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 12th annual Capitol Hill Ocean Week. It's wonderful to see many familiar faces. It's equally wonderful to see many unfamiliar faces. As Capitol Hill Ocean Week has grown over the years, I want to invite those who are joining us for the first time. My name is Jason Patlas. I'm the President and CEO of the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. To kick off the month, President Barack Obama officially declared June as National Oceans Month the other day. And as he seems to do year in and year out, he once again foreshadowed a lot of the things that we will be discussing over the next few days. In his proclamation, the President asked us to, and I quote, "celebrate our heritage as a seafaring nation." And that is what this year's CHOW is all about, highlighting how we are fundamentally a maritime nation. From our earliest origins to today, whether we look at our culture, our identity, our economy, our heritage, our demographics, our national identity, and our daily lives are shaped by the ocean. We are, in sum, one nation shaped by the sea. And through this year's CHOW, we pose the question, how will we define the future of America's relationship with our ocean? We will explore this relationship and answer this question over the next 3 days here in this building and on the fourth day, Friday, at the Capitol Visitor Center, beginning with our opening keynote presentation by Secretary John Bryson and closing with our Leadership Roundtable on Thursday, and then continuing at the Capitol Visitor Center on Friday. National Marine Sanctuary Foundation is proud to host Capitol Hill Ocean Week. The Foundation's mission is to connect people to the underwater places that define the American ocean. And CHOW is one of the ways we do it. And one of the individuals who does it better than anybody else is Mr. Fred Keeley. Mr. Keeley is one of the newest trustees of the foundation, but he's a longtime champion of the ocean. He hails from California, where he currently serves as treasurer for the county of Santa Cruz. Mr. Keeley was 3 times elected to the California Assembly, where he pioneered the Marine Life Management Act, which the Associated Press at the time called the most significant advancement in ocean policy in 50 years. Additionally, Mr. Keeley authored 2 of the largest park and environmental bonds in our nation's history, totaling $4.7 billion. Even from his perch in California, Mr. Keeley commands a national perspective on ocean and environmental issues. The University of California at Santa Cruz hosts a lecture series in honor of Fred Keeley, which itself speaks volumes because an honor like that is usually awarded posthumously. But if my eyes don't deceive me, Mr. Keeley is right here in the front row. Speakers for that series include Dr. Sylvia Earle, who will be with us on Thursday, the former Secretary of the Interior, Bruce Babbitt, and the current Administrator of NOAA, Dr. Jane Lubchenco. So it's my great honor to recognize a longtime public servant and a lifelong lover of the ocean, the Honorable Fred Keeley.
Good morning. Thank you very much for all of you being here today. Mr. Secretary, thank you, sir, for literally gracing us with your presence. It's my honor this morning to introduce to you the 37th Commerce Secretary of the United States. John Bryson has a very, very interesting background that goes both wide and deep. After he graduated from Yale Law School, he was one of the folks who put together the Natural Resources Defense Council and took a deep, abiding, and lifelong interest in the preservation and enhancement of our natural resources throughout the country. He also, in California, was the chair of the State Water Resources Control Board. Now that's worth thinking about for a second, because California, as Mark Twain once said, whiskey is for drinking, water is for fighting over. So when you're the chair of the State Water Resources Control Board, and you understand that the water's in the north, the agriculture's in the middle, and the people are in the south, there's plenty to fight over. So when you're the chair, the idea is to see, can you keep that fighting to a minimum and actually make progress on the issue of water in California? And John did that. John, of course, went on to become president and CEO of Edison International. one of the world's largest and, in my view, most progressive energy companies. John is a talented, intelligent, thoughtful Secretary of Commerce. He is the person who the President has entrusted with the rather sizable mission for this administration to be able to 24/7 create jobs, extend the reach of commerce throughout the world for the United States of America, domestically and abroad. It is my pleasure to introduce the 37th Secretary of Commerce, the Honorable John Bryson.
Hey, Fred knocked me out with that. That is very generous, and I thank you very much, Fred. Fred and I, when he was in the Assembly of the California Legislature, am I saying it, the Assembly, right? Yeah. And we had a tough stretch in California, and we worked very, very hard to sort things out. This was it. I won't go into any of the details, but it was an amazingly challenging period of time, and ultimately we worked it through. And Fred, it's so nice to see you. And Jason, I want to say that you're having undertaken this and built it over, is it 13 years, is a real service to all of us. It's a fabulous service, and this is a wonderful gathering. I thank you all for being here. As Fred said, President Obama, it's an honor to greet you on behalf of him and the entire administration for this Ocean Week. And it's great to see such a diverse community here, from researchers to businesses to congressional staff to the local, regional, and nonprofit groups. And I want to thank the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation for putting together such a great week, as well as for their input into the National Ocean Policy, which will soon enter its implementation phase. And I think all of you know we should all stay tuned for more on that in the months ahead. So obviously this is a crucial moment for America's economy. You all know that as we emerge from the biggest recession since the Great Depression. Our businesses have added over 4.3 million jobs over the last 27 months. That's good news, but we still have much more work to do. Fred touched on that. That's what I'm most engaged in. And today what I want to do is speak to how our oceans play a key role in that critically important economic recovery. Fact is, America's waters have always been a strong economic engine. Some call that the blue economy. Sir Walter Raleigh, you know of Sir Walter Raleigh, one of America's early explorers, and he said this. I like this a lot. For whosoever commands the sea, he said, commands the trade. And whosoever commands the trade of the world commands the riches of the world, and consequently the world itself. I'm sure that Raleigh couldn't have fathomed the impact of planes or railroads, much less e-commerce. But the fact remains, even centuries after he spoke those memorable words, there remains a vital and powerful link between America's oceans, rivers, lakes, and coasts and America's economy. So consider this. More than half of Americans live in coastal watershed counties. And that's true even though this area makes up only 17% of our U.S. land area. And those counties support about 66 million jobs. So it's along the coastal areas. And so now more than ever, we need to ensure that the blue economy is strong and growing. This morning I'll touch on 3 ways we can do that. So first, We simply need to show off America's waters. So I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and as a boy I remember going with my father and my uncle down to the Columbia River, down to the coast. And while they would go out in the deep water to catch salmon, I would spend much of my day trying to fix the line on my little fishing pole. I was really into this. And then one summer in the years I was in high school, I got very excited about something, and I worked as a camp counselor on the Puget Sound. And each week I took campers out, every week, campers out for 3 and 4 day canoe trips. And these were big trips, we thought. And I'm sure that many of you have personal connections like that to our waters, and you cherish those memories that you made with friends and family. Today, it's time that we share those experiences with the rest of the world. That's what NOAA and the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation are working towards every day. Together, they support 14 marine protected areas across the U.S. And these sanctuaries offer snorkeling, whale watching, fishing, and much more. And although altogether NOAA estimates that these communities and coastal businesses drive about $4 billion into our economy. So that's big, but let me take it a little further. And nationwide, we also see major impacts on our economy from things like recreational fishing. So when you add up the bait shops and the boat sales and the other economic drivers in fishing communities, that comes to more than $73 billion, supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs. So let me talk for a minute, however, about a missed opportunity. Our oceans, our coasts, our Great Lakes are sometimes almost entirely overlooked when both Americans and international travelers plan their vacations. That's part of the reason why Secretary Salazar, the Department of Interior, and I are heading up the administration's new National Travel and Tourism Strategy, which was released just last month. We believe that showing off our oceans, rivers, lakes, and coast isn't just a nice thing to do. The fact is that travel and tourism is America's #1 services export. This is a big impact on our economy and jobs. So last year, for example, we had an all-time record of 62 million international travelers to the U.S., and they supported 7.6 million good American jobs. We need to build on that momentum, and that's why our new plan, the one that has just been put out, sets a goal of 100 million visitors each year by 2010. So let's move that up. The only way we're going to meet that goal is, obviously, if all of us work together. Many federal agencies, for example, are involved in this effort. I'll just give you one example. The State Department is working to issue more tourist visas from countries that have a growing middle class. And then, in addition, our private sector partners on, for example, the U.S. Travel and Tourism Advisory Board are working to ensure a great experience for our tourists. They want, for example, to make it easier for them to get through our airports and arrive at their final destinations. And today we need your help. Let's get the word out about the wonderful opportunities to discover and explore America's vast waters. I encourage you to check out the new travel and tourism strategy, and thank you very much in advance for helping reach its important goals. All right, that's one. And then the second way we can strengthen the blue economy is to maximize the potential of our oceans and waterways. I believe we can ensure that our oceans are healthy while also leveraging their ability to drive the economy. And specifically, they can help increase U.S. exports. So even with air cargo and high-speed trains, it's important to remember that shipping remains a cornerstone of our export infrastructure. In fact, and this is to me a stunning fact, nearly 90% of our foreign goods trade, as measured by volume, is transported by ship. So in 2011, over $500 billion in U.S. goods were exported around the world through shipping. So it occurs to me that Sir Walter Raleigh would be smiling at that. So it's no surprise, I think, that our waterways are a key part of President Obama's National Export Initiative. That seeks to double U.S. exports by the year 2015, a very ambitious goal, but we're making historic progress towards that ambitious goal. And last year we hit an all-time U.S. record of $2.1 trillion in exports. And our folks at places like NOAA are working harder than ever to build on that. For example, NOAA's Navigational Services Division uses high-tech positioning tools combined with the latest weather data to ensure that our exports can move safely and efficiently. The technology and information we provide to the private sector is particularly important at our nation's ports. For example, if a shipper knows that a port has just 1 additional inch of water depth, they can load more goods onto the boat. So with that 1 inch, just as examples, you can put 99 more Chevy Volts onto the carrier, or enough wheat to make over 400,000 loaves of bread. And my commitment is that we will continue to do everything possible to empower our exporters who use the sea to send out good quality, made in America products. But today we must do even more, and I'll give just one important and timely example. The Senate, as I think all of you know, is taking a hard look at having the U.S. join the Law of the Sea Convention. This has the strong support of groups ranging from our military, the World Wildlife Fund, to the American Petroleum Institute, to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. The economic effects, the economic benefits of this treaty are clear. First, it will ensure that we continue to protect and maintain those shipping routes. But it's more than that. It will give our energy companies the certainty they need to make critical investments that create jobs. It will help our telecommunications companies as they build and maintain undersea cables. And it will secure our access to rare earth minerals, which we need, for example, to make computers and cell phones. Importantly, it will also help us urge other countries to support sustainability, to protect their marine habitats and species, and to promote healthy oceans. Already over 160 countries have signed on to this treaty. Republicans and Democrats alike have voiced their support for many years. Everyone from Presidents Clinton and Bush to Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, another Californian from the coast, to James Watkins, great figure in my life, the former Chief of U.S. Naval Operations, U.S. Secretary of Energy, and the Chair of the Commission on Oceans Policy. So it's clear that no country has more to gain from this treaty than does the U.S. Important meetings are already underway to draw up the rules that are flowing from the convention. The U.S. has an empty seat waiting for us at the table. We need to fill it. After all, America has never been content to sit back and let others make decisions that could affect our security, our economy, or our environment. The benefits of this treaty are too great to ignore, especially at this crucial moment in our recovery. We should act now. So finally, it's commencement season. We all know that, or most of us know it, or affected in some ways by it. I am. So I think it's appropriate to close by saying that we need to inspire the next generation to understand, explore, and protect our waters in the decades that lie ahead. About a mile from here in DC's Crime Museum, NOAA just opened a new exhibit on the 40th anniversary of the Marine Mammal Protection Act. As you know, this law helps protect marine life and our marine ecosystems. As we speak, there might be a young person wandering around that museum, looking at the pictures and thinking for the first time, this is what I want to do. This is my world. I bet that many of you here today had the same aha moment at some point early on, and today you probably still have moments that really spark your interest and imagination. For example, I'm sure that many of you know that NOAA's telepresence technology allows us to send seafloor images to researchers and scientists around the world. As you may have seen on the news a few weeks ago, this helped us uncover an incredible shipwreck deep in the Gulf of Mexico. Looking forward, we're going to do even more to spark the interest of those young people. For example, starting this weekend, we're teaming up with the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation and the Sports Fishing Conservancy to launch what's called the Sanctuary Classic. Through competitions and scholarships, the Sanctuary Classic will foster excitement among our youth about conservation and fishing. So what's clear is this: we need to find young people who share our curiosity and our interest in America's waters. Maybe they want to be an oceanographer or a researcher who works in this field. Maybe they want someday to go into public service at a place like NOAA. Or perhaps they simply want to start a business that helps people understand and enjoy our waterways, like that camp I worked for that summer, taking campers on canoe trips on the Puget Sound. I thought, well, it was the greatest thing I could do. We need to identify these young people. We need to nurture them and mentor them. And ultimately, we need to make sure they can make a difference, just like all of you are making in your daily work. And so what I want to do is conclude with a quote from a favorite president of mine. This president I have right now. His portrait behind my desk at the Commerce Department, President Kennedy, once said, "Knowledge of the oceans is more than a matter of curiosity. Our very survival may hinge upon it." I think everyone here would agree. Our oceans and our waters are critical to our prosperity, to our quality of life, and to the future of our nation. So let's show them off, let's maximize the potential, and let's inspire that next generation to follow in our footsteps. Thank you very much, and have a great, great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. What a terrific introduction to Capitol Hill Ocean Week, particularly with the personal stories that led the Secretary to the ocean many, many years ago, and inspiring your work today as Secretary of Commerce. Thank you.